With VersaTube easy-to-assemble steel building kits, weekends are made for garage building. Yes, garage building. With the VersaTube patented steel building system, you can erect a garage in as little as one weekend. The steel framing is swaged for easy slip-fit assembly, which means you and a couple of helpers can cross off build a garage from your weekend to-do list in no time. The folks at VersaTube would like to say thanks for buying one of their easy-to-assemble building kits. I'm going to show you how it all goes together. So sit back and watch this video all the way through before you start building. I want you to see all the assembly steps so you'll understand how the VersaTube building system works. We designed these kits to go up easy, so it'll be a breeze for anyone with the right tools and some basic building skills. Here's most of the tools you'll need to get the job done. There's a complete list in the assembly manual that comes with your building, in case you're not sure you've got them all. The tools that are going to get the most use are the drills. You'll need a good heavy-duty model. Cordless is fine, but you'll be changing batteries a lot, so you're probably going to want a strong electric drill for the heavier work. If you're going to be drilling holes in a concrete slab, you may want to rent a heavy-duty hammer drill for a day if you don't already have one. But the most important thing to have isn't a tool at all. It's safety glasses. If you don't have them, get a pair and wear them. The more often you have them on, the better. Since the building we're putting up in this video may be a different size or type than the one you're building, some of these instructions may not apply to your project, or we might have made some design changes, but the basics will be the same for all the kits. You'll need to refer to your manual for specific parts, measurements, hardware, and assembly techniques. There's a few things that are not included in your kit: the garage doors, walk-through doors, windows, masonry anchors, and a few other things will have to be purchased separately, so check your manual to make sure you get the right parts. Step 1. The foundation. The building we're putting up here is a 24-foot wide, two-car garage on an existing concrete slab. Now, we're not going to go into all the details of pouring the slab in this video, but you'll find a foundation drawing with your assembly instructions. Be sure to check with your local building officials before you begin pouring the slab and assembling your building to make sure you get it right the first time. Step 2. Base rail assembly. If you had a slab poured according to the foundation drawing supplied, the slab will have a sheeting ledge, a 1.5 by 1.5 inch notch along the top edge of the slab for the sheet metal to drop down into. In order to get the side base rails positioned properly on your slab, you must first determine the type of roof purlins and side girts that are included with your building. Purlins and girts are the horizontal frame members to which the sheet metal will be attached. Some VersaTube buildings use 1.5 inch square tubing for roof purlins and side and end girts. Tubular purlins and girts require brackets and fit flush with the building frame. Other buildings use hat channel for the roof and sides, as shown on the right, and 1.5 inch square tubular girts for the front and back ends. Hat channel is attached on the outside of the building frame. If you have a building that uses hat channel, the words hat channel on roof and sides will appear at the bottom of the cover page of your instruction manual. On buildings with tubular purlins and girts, the base rails will sit flush with the top edge of your concrete slab. This illustration shows the location of the base rail for a building using tubular girts. Notice that the side, front, and back base rails are all flush with the top edge of the slab. It's different for a building using hat channel on the sides. Because the hat channel extends 1.5 inches out from the frame on the sides of the building, the side base rails must be positioned 1.5 inches in from the top edge of the slab. This illustration shows the position of the side base rail for a building using hat channel. The base rail is located 1.5 inches in from the top edge of the slab, while the front and back base rail is flush with the top edge of the slab. Check your instruction manual for the appropriate base rail location for your building. If you're erecting your building on an existing slab, take your chalk line and carefully lay out the outline for the base rails. When you take measurements diagonally from corner to corner, the distances should be equal. Place the starter base rails in the front corners of the building, but don't fasten them yet. Then insert the extension base rails into the starter base rails until you reach the desired building length. This will be the first time you get to see how VersaTube swage tubing assembly works. Nice, isn't it? Measure the distance from the end pin on each base rail to the first pin on the next inserted base rail, and adjust the joint so that all the pins are on 4-foot or 5-foot centers depending on which kit you're putting up. When you're sure you have all of the base rails the right length and in the right position, fasten each joint with 2 1-inch self-drilling screws. Anchoring the base rails. VersaTube recommends using 1/2-inch by 7-inch concrete expansion bolts to anchor the building to the slab. Make sure you use the correct size masonry drill bit, a 1/2-inch in this case. Again, check your assembly manual and the bolt manufacturer's instructions for specific installation recommendations. Before you insert the expansion bolt into the anchor hole, place a flat washer on the bolt and thread a hex nut on the top of the bolt until about 1/4 inch of threads are exposed above the nut. Now, hammer down the expansion bolt. Then, tighten the nuts with a wrench. Continue this process until the base rails are complete. Step 3. Roof wall frame assembly. Before you start the roof wall truss frame assemblies, you'll want to lay out the parts for one of them on the slab so you can see how they go together. Slip together the peak, the rafters, side post, and height extensions if required. Before you screw together the joints of the verticals, take a measurement across the top and bottom of the assemblies as shown. Try to keep the joint spacing on both sides of the assembly equal. It's a big help to drive stakes into the ground at the width of the building and use them to set the dimension at the bottom of the assembly. You should set the bottom dimension before you adjust and set the top dimension. Remember to check the manual for a diagram and details on this step. Once everything is set, you can go ahead and screw the joints together.